recording. I gotta make sure that's recording. All right. Um, Joe, how are you doing? You just did your two archetype assessments with me. Um, what's going on in your world?
So I'm in a bit of a weird mood tonight. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, so that kind of those assessments ended up in a strange, weird way that I never thought that it would turn up like. Very interesting. Um yeah, and then so I messaged Andrew the night, I think it was a day after. And things kind of continued with feeling certain things and making noise. Let's put it like that. Getting a little bit angry for once in my life. Um, yeah. Yeah, and then I've kind of like gone back to, it's like go back to normal a little bit. I think just kind of stuffing things down again. Um, I noticed it when I went out with one of my colleagues, who we'd become quite good friends, and we went out for a walk, kind of in this forest, down by the stream, and I noticed kind of
Magical.
like things. Huh?
I said it sounds magical.
It was really nice, really nice. I was thinking a lot about water, and do you know those messages that we put up on the school group about like the water flowing and the hips and everything like that. Um, and then I was gonna say, yeah, things were coming up for me, but I noticed myself just repress because I was in front of her, like, and she doesn't want to hear all my crap. Um, she's got stuff going on for herself. Um, yeah, it wasn't the right time. Maybe it was the right time.
Feels like you're leaving something out.
What about the expression of anger that I had?
Sure. Yeah. Something like you letting yourself be angry for the first time.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. I've been in a bit of a weird space about it afterwards, like kind of feeling like it was probably to do with the vulnerability of like being that angry in front of you. Um, yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I'm quite willing to be asked about it, but yeah, I don't know. Like expressing myself from just now, just like here now, whatever. I don't know what to say,
Okay.
but
No
I'm quite
problem.
happy to talk about it.
Well, not like the other two of us here don't know anything about it.
It can be really like I remember when I first started and like beating a couch or in front of Andrew, and it's sort of like, wow, this is strange and weird and all those things, but it
Yet
works.
Yeah.
somehow satisfying.
Yeah.
Did you find that you like got a lot out of it like afterwards, reflecting back on it?
Oh, yes. I mean, I just feel like I know I'm just at the beginning of living and there's still more to do, but I mean, it's transformed my life. I'm so grateful to the whole process and amazed by it because it does seem just like, how is this going to work? And it's just such a different process of, um, but man, does it work? And I mean, my whole life just feels like it's I'm moving with the way like I should be, with the way of the Tao, or it's just in the flow. And for so long I wasn't. And gosh, it was hard and suffering and misery and
Yeah, and sometimes you don't realize how much suffering in until you get some feedback or a different reference point of, oh, life could
yes.
that really? I could just it's just a choice? Yeah. Huh. I've been making it this hard the whole time. Uh-huh. I'll be damned.
One thing I was thinking about, and it popped in my head, and I think it's everything you've been saying. And I was thinking about, because last session I was talking with Andrew about how wimpy I am with my kids. I just can't show up like as authority figure, as that I could be mean, that I'm threatening, I don't have that embodied yet. And so I was reading the book and thinking about that. And I was at the part where you were talking about how on when people they want to change. So they go in and they say, oh, this person is successful this way, I'm going to mimic them. And you talked about how it was flat. They become flat because they're trying to mimic without having any feeling. And I felt like, gosh, that sounds like me in my life. I was flat. And I was born multidimensional, but through life and everything, I became flat, emotionless, everything repressed, suppressed. Um, and through this work, as I go into and actually move into, being authoritative, I'm rebuilding my multidimensional gem that I came into the life with. It just was like, wow, that's so amazing. Like, we're all, and how, why are gems so beautiful? Because they have sides, because they have edges, because they, they're
Facets.
curious, and they become intriguing, and then so does the person that is that inside. They become curious about life, intrigued about life, and the I don't know, it was like, wow, that's beautiful, just picture of how it's working. And how you talk about, you aren't telling people you need to move this way so you can get this, or because you realize that all of us are unique jewels, and so nothing is going to be a pattern,
Well, there's going to be patterns,
or yeah.
but yeah, how we approach it with each individual person is going to be different.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there are patterns. Yeah. Yeah, when someone comes in the martyrdom archetype, when someone comes in not being able to make money, when someone comes in being avoidant, anxious, these are all patterns. That's really just
I,
what they are.
I guess the difference is how you approach them to recognize those patterns, or
Yeah, yeah,
they're all
it's
different. Yeah.
yeah, we have to approach it from where they're at. Because if they have anxiety from this direction and we tell them to do it in this direction, they're not going to get any benefit. We have to line up and see what is it for them that's causing that.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever that underlining energy is still the same martyr, self-abandonment, betrayal, whatever it is. It's different.
I found that really interesting, Elaine, when you said that like you've had these experiences of anger, but you haven't like fully embodied it yet.
I have embodied anger, but we were talking about the authoritative, having a spine, kind of the opposite of being a wimp. That's more of the energy that I need. One thing Andrew had said that I thought was so beautiful was how if I don't have the ability to kill somebody, not that I would, but I could to protect myself. If I don't have that, then being nice or having gentleness means nothing because I can't even kill anybody, you know. So to have to hold both of them and then choose to be gentle, that is, you know, having integrity, that is having a virtue. That was beautiful. And it just feels, to me, it feels like, wow, that's how, uh, like for me, that's how I come into myself and I be whole by holding both of those instead of out of relationship with one. And I realize how much out of relationship I was with so much, and I still am, but how that twisted me and made me suffer and caused so much pain. Um,
Thanks. Coming
Welcome.
into the truth. Going back to last week's question.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was
All right. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? We can just call it early today, but anything you'd just like to share? Elaine, practice what you were just doing, teaching and explaining, or Joe, I mean, there's two of you, so you
yeah,
can
Joe.
play however you want to play.
Yeah, what did so do you find that within yourself you've just repressed and suppressed all of your emotions?
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't felt anger or or you haven't allowed yourself?
Yeah, I probably haven't allowed myself. So I had like anger towards my family growing up. Um, but when I did, they like shunned it. They shut me down. So through that I just kind of, yeah, went into a box
Yeah, it
and
was invalidated.
hmm
Wow.
yep.
So you were feeling that the first time since childhood? No, or
Like feeling that to that intensity, yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
suppose, yeah. Like, because when, say, for example, in, I was going to say that in normal life, this is still normal life, but say if someone came up to me and said, do you feel anger? And I'd be like, well, no. So this is the first time that I've. It's a hard one to say. Because, like, I did experience it, but for a short time when I was younger. Um, or I'd just feel the shame afterwards. Like, it would be shut down, and then I'd be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Yeah, because I'd go into, like, the bathroom and I'd, like, kick the bath or hit my head on the wall or something like that in an expression of anger, and then they'd just shut me down. They would unpick the lock, come in, and like tell me to come back down again. Or like I would stick on a song on the radio really, really high, like a really good thrashing out song. And they would just be like, turn that music down. Um, but that, because that was one of my ways of like express my anger, yeah, I just shut down from there. Yeah.
This work is so beautiful that you were able to go into it though, because it is running your life, even though you
Mm. I went
oh,
into it and then I avoided it, and then I went into it again, and then I avoided it again. We had a bit of to and fro, didn't we, Andrew?
but at least you're doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful. And once you get the taste of it, and you're gonna feel the I you're gonna feel I've had that feeling before where I'm like, wow, all these coats or these garments are just coming off, and I just feel this liberation, and
Amazing.
it's so such a beautiful feeling. I'm feeling alive and feeling that I'm living in the moment instead of living in the past. And yeah.
It's so nice to see because I remember there was one time, like obviously I haven't seen you back at the beginning when you first started, but there was one time where you mentioned it and you mentioned about when you first started and you were so depressed and everything. Like it's so beautiful to see like how much joy you've got in this work and how much of a difference it's making.
Oh, I just flabbergasted by what this work does. Um, yes,
It's beautiful to see.
it is. And I just love the how when we go into the shadows, it's just not what we think. And it's just
So
so
I
healing to feel.
want you guys to look at this picture. We did this in the fellowship, but for those of you folks that aren't in there, Elaine just did her kind of 1 year client interview with me. And this is kind of a still frame from her first session.
Wow.
Yes, I know. I have so much compassion for myself. I can just feel
It's just like a completely different person, isn't it?
the emptiness and oh,
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it if we didn't have the before. If we didn't have our videos being depressed, you don't believe she would be. Hi, Julie.
yes. That idea that a picture is worth 1,000 words, wow. I mean, impactful, powerful. You don't even have to say anything. It's just apparent. That was so beautiful for me to see, Andrew. It's just like, wow, how far?
Yeah, well, it's beautiful for us to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How long ago was that?
a year ago.
Wow.
Yes. I really I don't think I watched every replay, but I watched most of them, and then took notes, and just I think that part of it was my family left me, or I left, yeah, my family just rejected me. So I felt like this was my opportunity. My older two girls don't need me right now. My husband doesn't need me. I I'm going to go on this journey for myself. And so I've had a lot of time and dedication to it. And um, it's, it's helped me. And is every day I'm seeing things that I'm like, wow, this is working. This is amazing. The people around me are shifting, and it's just, uh,
I mean, look at her. She's smiling. I mean, she didn't used she used to not smile and laugh or feel anything.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now I look back, I'm like, how did I ever not do this? Like, this is fun. This is
Yeah,
life. How could
exactly.
I? But there I was, and I did, and oh, wow.
Think a lot of it was frustration, the anger, or what would you put it down to that you shared? Like, oh,
Yes, I believe a big core of it was not feeling good enough in myself from childhood. So if I went through life not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, and therefore I get someone abusive in my relationship. I am abusive to myself because I'm not worth anything. So work myself to the bone. No rewards for myself or tend
Nourishment,
to care, nourishment. Um, and so by the time I reached Andrew, I was just run down, ragged, and
yeah. You guys saw it, yeah.
yeah, um, exhausted all the time. I was taking naps every afternoon for a couple hours.
Yeah,
And
forgot about those. Yeah.
yes, I don't even think about naps now. I mean, it's just like,
You just
and
got
all
like a third of your life, a quarter of your life back just from that.
yes. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting about my naps that I don't even think about being tired. And I think it was an escape mechanism because I was in such pain and suffering. Oh, just take a
Yeah.
nap and actually get some relief.
Yeah.
And then I had three daughters and I taught them all of these things of, if I wasn't worthy, I couldn't see myself, so therefore I didn't really see my daughters. And I lived a lot up here, so I wasn't in the moment. And so I missed so much life. And that's why I don't have a lot of memories because I wasn't living. I was lost in my cloud of dissociation. So,
That's that's a big deal too.
yes. I'm like, yes, I've captured this moment and I won't forget it because I was feeling and I've learned how to hug, like good hugs. And I was always afraid of it or my mom would always just kind of hug me like that like there was just barely any touch and just and hugging like really hugging and feeling. I mean, that's brand new to me. But I just actually hugged my oldest daughter today, and it was just a miracle hug. It was like 2 minutes long, and she didn't let go. I was like, okay, and I was just feeling like she's not letting go. Oh my gosh, because, she hasn't talked to me. And I mean, she's talked to me, but she's just very cold and won't look me in the eye and just, she pushes me away. Uh, so it was just like, but it was me showing up saying, "Oh my gosh, you're about to turn 17. I can't believe it. What are you going to do? How are you going to celebrate?" And just, and it just, she had tears in her eyes because it was all coming from feeling. I was feeling it. She was feeling it. And
And it was about her, not you or your narcissism or the hatred or any of this other shit.
it was, I just couldn't believe how beautiful that interaction was. And I just was like, how could I have missed this? But
Well, you missed it and now you're finding it.
yes.
Yeah, most people never even know they lost it.
You don't, so you don't think most people are at that level of interact? I guess I thought I was just,
No, you are exceptional. Um, you are not the average bear.
but you don't think most people are at that level of feeling towards people.
In regards to what? Can you specify, please?
Um, I guess yeah, I have that backwards. I'm thinking that most people live that way and I was just off. But
Yeah, well, that's how it should be. But you know,
We're all, yeah,
Also, Americans, what, are 50% obese, so it doesn't
that's
mean
true.
that obesity is the right
Yeah,
normal way for everybody.
yeah.
I think it's like that giving thing, if you give out so much, more will come round back to you. Like, like you'll feel it more because you're giving out. So like that cycle of give and receive that keeps happening. It'll produce more and more. Like,
Hmm.
well, I try to perceive it like that. That if I keep giving, even if I don't feel anything back, at some point that person will remember have the memory that I've give this. So there might be a response at some point that's wrong back.
Yeah, it depends if it's a manipulation or not. Depends if there's an agenda. It depends if we do the favors, so in the future they'll remember that, or you can abuse it, certainly. But if you have it authentically, um, the more you give, the more you receive. The more you receive, the more you give. It does. It's a flywheel. But if you have one of those distorted, you're going to really struggle. If you
Yeah, because what
embody,
I have a stone, like I've got my husband and he hasn't got a response. I could hug him.
can you say that again?
I would have my husband back and I would hug him, but it'd be like hugging a stone. It's like he doesn't respond. Well, some days he does, other days like
Yeah. You just put them into a fire pit. It'll heat those stones up real quick. Yeah, it's always an invitation. It can be a struggle being in relationships with people that don't match you. Um, and at the same time, it can be a great practice and lesson in open invitations, right? Here's an open invitation to let me love you with this hug. Now you can accept it or not, but it's here. Rather than making somebody wrong for it, that's when things start getting that's when things start getting sticky.
I think if you keep it curious, that you're just curious, that there's something there, they have something, that's something they're dealing with or something, happening that you don't know about, you can't understand another person. Because I know I was so cold, and off-putting. And, I've tried to do this expression to see, but maybe everything just sort of goes to a point where um, both of you sort of have learnt to be way with each other in the room, or that it's hard to bring that back or break that cycle.
Yeah, it takes two. Both people have to be willing to break those cycles. Hi, Durham. Joined us at halftime show.
Very sorry about that. I slept through.
It's all
I'm just
right.
so tired. Yeah. Lovely to see you all. Lovely to see you, Julie. Been a while.
Yeah, I've been going with some family stuff, and I think, yeah, learned quite a bit this last month. And I've been listening to different ones on and off, when I can. I think these early mornings, it's like half one. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Good later.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for joining us. Staying up late.
thank you. A bit late, but thank you. Lovely to see everyone. Yeah, Elaine. And I haven't met Joe. I've seen Joe on the on the call last couple. Yeah.
Yeah, same as well. I've seen you on the calls, but I haven't met you on a live call.
I had a question, Andrew.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Um, there's no one out there.
Mhm.
That's puzzled me for a while, a long time,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to make sense of it, um, especially in my terms of my my comparison to others and judging myself and judging others and the the what you say is there's no one out there, and I think I get it conceptually, but I don't think I get it very well.
What does it mean to be separate?
I feel very lonely. It the meaning that I get from that is I take it with that same I take it I suppose that with the same vein as being separate. It's um, that it's just me. It's just me in here. Just me in this world. And I get confused with there's no one else out there. It's just like, is it just me? I see people. I see
Yeah, who are you competing
Elaine.
with? Yeah.
Well, even in the call, I see Elaine, Joe, Julie, Neil, yourself, and so I'm really confused about there's no one else out there. Aren't you guys out here?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. But we're not separate from you.
Okay. So the people are right.
This call
So
would
it
not be this call if you didn't show up. When you showed up, how you showed up, it would be a different call. It would be a different call if you wore a dress shirt instead of a hoodie. Every element is included. It would not be this. I mean, this universe would be fundamentally different without each one of us. It is literally a different universe. One of the best ways I've seen this is doing this in somatic movement and having people come up and discover for themselves more functional archetypes. Oh, isn't that interesting? It was within you. Well, the answers weren't out here. Your body, your body contained that, contained the potential for that somehow. Your DNA. Your DNA could contain the potential for you being on this call right now. It must be so. What the fuck that has to do with the thing? I don't know, but I'm saying it anyway.
I
Yeah,
feel like
I see. I'm seeing you um yeah, the separation creates a lot of suffering because of what you make it mean. What do you make the separation mean? Yeah, you don't want to be connected. Why don't you want to be connected?
the choice that I'm making to be separated.
So why would you be avoiding being one?
It doesn't feel like I belong.
Mm. So these exercises are less about telling you what some supreme answer should be, and more about revealing what's going on for you. Everything's revealing something.
Yes. That makes a lot of sense. And part of what is revealed is just when you say things like the universe will be fundamentally different without me in this call, or without anyone on this call, and I find it very hard to believe that. And it's
Why?
just,
I mean, isn't it obvious? You're here, you're asking these questions, we're talking about them. It's a very different call than it was before you're here.
yes. That's interesting because I actually conflated different with significant. Like, sure, it will be a different universe, but do I play a significant part?
Mm.
That's, I think that's what I conflated in between these two. Like,
Well, that's
oh
the
gee,
ego's question, isn't it?
right.
Right? I mean, do we matter? Does my life matter? And to whom? And if that person disappears too, did it even matter?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm so happy that you joined us here, Darun. It matters here, you know? It's like, wow, just having your presence here.
Thank you, Elaine.
Yeah, and then on the fellowship, that was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a phenomenal call.
yeah.
And you're in Australia. Yeah.
I am in Australia, Julie.
Yeah. So far away now.
Where are you, Julie?
I'm in Ireland.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we got people from all around the world. That's so cool.
Andrew, I had a question about in your book, you had quoted the Tao Te Ching, and it said, if you want to become full, first let yourself be empty. And when I was on the Slack line, we saw the emptiness in there. And I was just curious if that was somehow linked to
What are you trying to do? It feels like you're trying to connect something. What are you trying to connect? Like you have an agenda for the outcome of the connection rather than just being curious about.
yeah. I had just noticed that in there and I was like, I wonder if that's part of why I was able to do the work was I had that emptiness and now I'm filling myself up. But it's funny because I wasn't really empty. I was full of suppression and so it's weird. It's like how can I be empty but be full of all this stuff? It's like,
Now you're starting to ask some better questions.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. How?
Is it because of the vibration? Like the vibration level somebody's energies are at? So
In
like
regards
a
to what?
rate, the resonance, like if I'm down and I just think of all the down things that are happening around, this is going wrong, that's going wrong. I keep myself in this level that, you know, like a waveform that just keeps flowing and flowing and keeping me there, and I can't get up above that because it's very heavy,
Yeah.
like heavy.
Yeah,
But
or you go
but
into it.
yeah, if I do something to enlighten myself, or like drop off
Well,
something.
sure, yeah, it's possible. It depends if it's chronic or an acute thing. Like if you're just in a mood, we've talked about state changes, and that's okay. It's better than lots of alternatives. But uh, the core premise of this work is not about feeling good, but about feeling everything. And so the invitation is always to just go to where you're feeling the most, even if it doesn't feel good, or if it feels great and it feels so wonderful and good, and then you feel guilty for it, whatever happens.
When you're talking about the how are you not here or here, I word like I've been breaking words up because I've never been good with words, but I'm breaking words up like if you think of individual, it's like in divide dual. It's like you're divided and you're in some sort of duel that, are you going to be part of something or are you going to be by yourself? Maybe that's just me and my own life. That's the way I'm feeling with that word individuals. What came to me when he said, are you there or are you
With Darun talking
there?
about the competition,
Yeah.
yeah, or the comparison. Yeah, there's nobody else out there.
So do you think we intentionally seek war? Like seek
Some of
to
us,
have
yeah, certainly. Oh yeah, all of us? No, I don't. But yeah, there's a part of consciousness that craves war. It's bloodlust for it. Okay, all right, that's what we want to do.
And would you say that they are out of relationship with peace if that's all they're craving, that's all they know, they don't know
Could be,
peace?
could be, yeah, could be an idea. They could be out of relationship with violence. Yeah, and there are a lot of people that commit crimes and violence that aren't in relationship with it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because if you were in relationship with your violence, you probably wouldn't be doing all of those things. It would be for a specific purpose and reason. Hunting, defending, conquering, whatever it is for you. I'm not here to judge. All right, you feel bloodlust? Great. Let's see it. Show me in your body. That's what I do. And we get way way, way, way much more information from doing that rather than trying to be little sweet little angels that just can't do anything wrong. That doesn't work. So yeah, you go into these energies and explore them and find them out. These are energies that most people are terrified of. Real shadow material. And if you're able to transverse areas that other people aren't, you have a greater, I don't know, advantage. Not like we're taking advantage of people, but um, you have a bigger range. And so from your bigger range, you're going to be able to do more with it, whatever it is that you want. Um, but if you don't address that shadow material, then it starts leaking out. And so you find yourself on some dark YouTube binge with some weird shit creeping out of your subconscious or something like this. Fetishes, perversions, lots of sexual stuff because sexuality is so repressed. Um, but you can imagine if you were in a relationship with your sexuality, it wouldn't need to have all these distortions in order for you to be okay with it or to get other people to be okay with it or whatever you're doing. Then you just explore, right? It's just, someone said earlier here today, curiosity. Yeah, you just get curious. What does consciousness do when it's presented with this situation? What does consciousness do when it's presented with this? Which one do I want to pick? How do I get to respond rather than be reactive to? Yeah, it takes courage, especially to explore your own shadow material and then explore the shadow material of the collective consciousness. Because there's a lot there. Yeah, but then you start finding out, oh, this is beautiful. But you have to be willing to go in it, right, Darun? Go into that grossness, into that creepiness. And once you get in there, you find out how wonderful it is. And it's not at all what you thought it was. And we're like, cool, you get to mud wrestle.
Or do you like the haka? You know that's New Zealand though, isn't it? New Zealand is the haka, like the rugby haka. Haka?
Talking about the tribal dance.
Yeah.
You have a tribal dance?
The indigenous people of New Zealand, they have a warrior tribal dance that they Thinil.
Mhm.
They have a tribal dance that they do, and before any of their gridiron games, they do that as well. And a sign of respect when they receive people, they also do that. So,
Can you
yeah,
show us?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not from New Zealand, and there's Australia.
okay.
So Julie's getting a little bit confused. Yeah.
That's all right. All right. Elaine, it looks like you have a question.
Yes, I was wondering if someone's moving a lot and they're always moving, they're
Not
is it
staying still.
not staying still, avoiding,
I don't know. What's your question? I was just playing with you.
are they avoiding feeling or are they, you were saying that it,
Mm.
things start getting perverted and but that was
So,
sexual.
so if somebody's constantly moving from a place of anxiety, yeah, that is going to be them avoiding feeling. If you're moving because you're doing cinesomatics and you're moving your life forward, that's a completely different thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's what's the energy.
But our we're built to stay still. I mean, that's our
No, it's the exact opposite. We're built to move.
okay.
Yeah, our bodies are entirely engineered to move, not be plugged into the matrix.
But I guess I see some people that are always like moving, 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 and it's almost nauseating
It
how
is.
much they're moving.
Yeah, it's a different kind of movement than we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't sit still. They're running from the silence and the stillness,
Mm, okay.
which is different than you doing your circles.
Moving. Yes, right.
Yeah, they're moving away from, oftentimes. They're moving out of feeling. They're moving,
So for them, the shadow is the silence that they don't want to.
could be. Yeah, I don't like to make absolute statements. I don't know these
Okay.
particular people you're referring to. But yeah, I mean, anybody that comes in with anxiety, the first thing I want to do is get them still, quiet, and see what they start doing. That's why in all the embodiment assessments, I say, all right, good, stand there for a minute.
Oh, yes. Oh, I remember that. Like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. Or what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's to reveal
Oh.
whatever it's there to reveal. Sometimes it's
And
something, and sometimes it's nothing. Go ahead.
and it's also like how Hannah and I we make a lot of noise. Just we're so scared of the silence. We're like, oh, I'm not sure what Hannah does. Like she was swallowing, or she just there's always the background noise. We're background noise, and
Yeah, it's absolute abuse on the silence.
Do you find that it comes from anxiety for you, Darun?
I still haven't quite nutted down anxiety per se, but I know there's a lot of tension. And when I quiet and I really focus on being still, a lot comes up, and
Yeah,
those
exactly.
noises, yeah,
Yeah, the
those
point is
noises.
for all that stuff to come up so you can address it. And then
Mm,
eventually that stuff stops coming up and you're just at
mm,
peace.
feels like a pressure cooker.
Mm.
Oh.
It's like you want to do something, you just to let the pressure
Yes.
leak out.
Yeah, a release valve.
Mm.
Yeah, too often the little,
Anything.
the little ways people fidget while they're standing up there, those are just, or they go up on their toes or heels or whatever. Those are all just ways to disconnect
Mm,
and reduce the tension, to reduce that feeling. The downside is that you miss what it's there to teach you and show you, and you're not, connected to it. All right. Anyone have a final statement, proclamation they'd like to make before we close our call today?
I've got a question, but is it too late for a question?
Well, as long as it has a 1 minute answer, it is not too late.
So, doubt. How do you know when doubt is just avoidance or whether it's kind of just trying to discern what the truth is?
Well, it sounds like you said it in there. If you're trying to discern what the truth is, it doesn't sound like doubt. Doubt feels like somebody that's looking to get proven it not happening.
Say that again in a different way.
Doubt has the expectation that it won't happen.
Okay.
Seeking for the truth, it's open to all possibilities.
Okay.
So doubt. And also
But if
could
you're
be
continually
lack of
doubting, then
self
that could be avoidance,
knowledge.
couldn't it?
Say that. I'm sorry. Say that again.
If you continually doubt, then that'll just be avoidance, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what it's there for. You know, what do you keep doubting and what do you want in your life? You know, I could keep doubting that I don't know, is going to rain in Tasmania tomorrow, but it really doesn't have an effect on my daily life. Um, so yeah, you just kind of go into it. I also hear kind of like a self-trust thing.
Mm,
Yeah, to me feels like a more interesting place to go into self-trust.
mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Andrew. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Have a
everyone.
lovely week.
Take care.
See ya. Bye.